Now, it's time for the Anchormen Podcast with Matt Gaetz and Dan Ball.
Welcome back to the Anchormen Show. I'm Matt Gaetz alongside my good friend Dan Ball. Dan is the host of Real America. You can catch it 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific here on One America News. And the perfect chaser to Real America is the Matt Gaetz Show, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 Pacific. So this episode is going to publish on Valentine's Day. So I wanted to wish everybody and you a happy Valentine's Day.
That's right. And I did not forget. Because you know I'm a newlywed.
You are? Oh, yeah, you can't.
You came to the wedding? You know.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of like chasers, did you have too many last night with the shades?
No, man. I was told that this actually makes me look cool and intimidating. As
Who
opposed
told you that?
to
Your producer back there who hides behind the camera?
Yeah.
That guy?
Normally I just look pudgy and beady-eyed. But
I thought that was his look.
I think, well, you know, it's democratized. All right, so Valentine's Day, can you think of like the worst one you ever had?
Oh, God. You want me to say this on the record?
Yeah. I got some.
Bro, you go first.
Okay.
I got to think. I had, a lot of
I
relationships.
had a special friend tell me that we were going to Cirque du Soleil. And I just heard like the circus part. So I thought it was a circus. And it ended up being Cirque du Soleil, which is a huge letdown if you're expecting a circus. I also had a circumstance where I'm taking a girl back to my home in Florida from law school for Valentine's Day weekend, and we get stuck in the Atlanta Hartsfield airport and have to sleep on the floor. And I'm just telling you, it is a sad state of the human condition when you get a bad snowstorm over Atlanta or a bad rainstorm. All the hotels are full. It was a nightmare. But
were you like
all yours have been perfect?
Camping out in front of the Starbucks, waiting until it opened and eating like little cracker cheese packets?
You try to
what were
be
you
as
doing?
chivalrous as you can be in that situation. And at some point, most of the restaurants close. So it becomes a survival situation.
I don't know that I've had a bad one.
No?
When I've been in a relationship, I probably have had some that weren't that great because I wasn't in a relationship. And you go out and everybody's out doing their thing with the couples, and you're the single guy, the divorced guy, the person without.
You're just alone at a Chinese buffet on Valentine's Day.
Sad, but I was solo in divorce for a few years in Las Vegas, and so I'm betting in those several years there was probably
Go to like an Elvis impersonator in Vegas. You're there alone.
Yeah, there had to be some crappy Valentine's Day.
Requesting Love Me Tender.
But thanks for bringing that up.
All right, so I have another question for you.
Yes, sir.
What do you think? Now, we're both happily married guys, but back to our single days. What was the rule on one of your buddy's exes? Because I know some people that would say once one of your buddies breaks up with somebody, it's total no contact. Don't speak to the person. They never existed. Others on the
You're talking about bro code now.
Sure. Others on the other end of the spectrum that are like, oh, you can. It is. There's no honor among thieves. So where do you kind of fall on that question?
Am I going to get in trouble on this thing since we have I don't know, we're worried about censoring stuff on YouTube and whatever? Can I say the old bro phrase, which I always thought it was bros before hoes?
So isn't that the way you were taught? Value that. So that's where you're at.
Well, listen, I've had some buddies who've broken up with gals and you go, she's pretty fine, but I'm not going to go give her a call. That would not be cool.
Okay, so not even
good
dating.
friends with the guy still.
Can you be friends with one of your buddy's exes?
That depends on how they broke up and what the current relationship is with you and your bro. Because if he's like, oh, we had a good, parting of the ways and I'm still friendly with her and da-da-da, then yeah, I think you could be friendly too. If your bro calls you and says that, and I'll never, and I'm censoring myself, then yeah, probably not a good idea, Matt. To call
so if there was a messy
Bill
breakup,
just dumped you.
So you would say if there's a messy breakup with one of your bros and a lady, very messy,
yes,
very nasty, then you got to shut off even the friendly communication.
I think so. I mean,
and I ask
please sound off on X and Truth and other places and say
the reason I asked
who's right or wrong
is because I saw that you had Marla Maples on Real America.
Yeah.
And I know you're buddies with Trump.
Yeah.
And they had the messiest, nastiest breakup, and you've got Marla Maples on your program. And I'm just wondering, after Trump had you at his house to have your wedding, how you have his ex on your program.
Okay, but wait a minute. They have a totally different relationship than most of us normal folks that aren't high profile celebrities / presidents and former, model wives. I'm talking about regular old Dan Ball and his buddy.
So you have a presidential model wife exception to the typical bros before hoes
okay, first
mentality.
of all, you're trying to get me in trouble with my wife, who does the booking for my guests on my talk show, who booked
wait, I'm getting you in trouble with your wife. You just threw your wife under the bus and said she was the one who booked her.
Yeah, so hold on. She booked her because
there it is.
We've seen Marla down at Mar-a-Lago recently getting along with her ex-husband and helping to promote RFK, who just got confirmed, who she's friendly with, and is helping to clean up, as you know, Florida. She's got a big foundation initiative. They're trying to clean up the water and the air and all that stuff. And so we had her to talk about Maha. And I thought it would be okay because she's been down there hanging out with Trump and Melania.
Okay, well,
so why is it bad?
I think we've just found the lead.
Throw my ass into the bus.
What have you observed with Trump and Marla down at Mar-a-Lago that the rest of us are not aware of?
At the parties and stuff, she's been invited. She's been friends with Bobby for 20, 25 years. Bobby just got confirmed as part of the cabinet.
RFK Jr. I'm so glad he was confirmed.
Yes.
You're totally right. I'm teasing you, but she has been a terrific advocate for this movement for quite some time.
You just wanted to bust my Dan's balls.
I also wonder the extent to which RFK Jr. has a whole lot of platonic relationships with women. I'm just sort of wondering.
We've heard.
No judgment.
I mean,
no judgment.
Hey, let's be real. Pops, Uncle, all the Kennedys, they're
the next step in human evolution. We should hope that the Kennedys procreate as much as possible.
They're ladies' men.
Them and Elon.
You and I could only aspire to be ladies' men. By the way, speaking of things that get you in trouble, how about the handles coming from Elon and his Doge team this week? Are you going to change your handle on X to something racy and sexy? I mean, we learned about big balls, hairy balls, sexy Tesla, and the media is going nuts that these guys have these crazy names, these very smart 19 and 20-year-old rich young tech guys that are way smarter than most guys in DC, present company excluded, and you're not there anymore. So are you going to change the name just from Matt Gaetz to something?
I'm trying to think of the worst handles. I think the worst handle I ever had as a spunky adolescent was on AOL Instant Messenger, and it was Gates of Hell. Spelled my way, which I thought was pretty. I loved AOL. It unlocked so much potential. You could talk to 4 people at one time.
But it was the most annoying sound you had to wait for. I don't like sounds. Sounds bug me. It's like smells. Ask my wife. So I walk in, she has the wrong candle burning in the house. I'll know in 2 seconds. I'm like, put that out. It reeks.
Wait a second.
Sounds and smells.
Is there a particular scent that sets you off?
No, I just like a leather candle. Like those leather ones are good. Like a manly candle.
Leather is
one that says like leather cigar. The nice candle, a leather cigar, like that. Like if I come home and it's some foo-foo, fruity / lavender, and I'm like.
What about a sea breeze? Linen?
I mean, we live by the ocean. Fresh linen, that's all right, I guess, yeah.
Well, you'll only accept the manly stuff, though. I did see your dog was at work today.
Shh. You can't have pets at the One America News studio.
Oh, so that was
Thanks for ratting me out, Matt.
Well, no, I thought the dog was cute. It's a small dog.
It's not my dog. It's my wife's dog, which I adopted when we got married because it's her dog. Don't make it like I like little wiener dogs. I know where you're going with these
I just
jokes.
Wonder what kind of man wants
I know
a
where
tiny
this guy
dog.
is going with the jokes. Yeah, but you know what dogs I'm getting. I already showed you the ones that are coming to the.
Oh man, tell everybody that was a great. That was
two brothers from the same litter, English chocolate labs. One's a little darker, looks like a bear.
But you don't want a puppy. You had a great riff on how you're going a level above puppy.
You get the puppies, and we've all been through that. They chew, they piss on everything. You got to deal with the whole training them, whatever. I found a breeder that had 2 dogs that they were going to be their breeders at their kennel, and they didn't get big enough. They only got to like 80, 90 pounds, I guess, in the first 19, 20 months, and they like 100-pound breeders. So, yeah, I'm buying 2. They're still pups, I guess, until they're 2 years old, right? So they're just under 2, but they already got all the commands. They're trained for kennels. They're potty trained. No more chewing. So why go get the puppies, pay the puppy premium price for a purebred?
Premium?
It's like $2,500 to $3,000 for a purebred lab. You kidding me?
I'm a rescue dog guy. Usually they'll like.
I have over the decades.
They'll pay the vaccinations for them. They'll just give them to you.
Listen, I've loved labs since I was a kid growing up in Ohio. Chocolate and black, my favorites. And I said, if I ever buy another property where I have actual land, okay, because in Cali, as you're finding out, it's like a lot, and your neighbors right here, you can spit and hit their door.
Yeah, you can reach out your window and shake hands in California.
But now I have a few acres, and I'm like, I want the dogs I've wanted for 50 years, and I wanted some chocolate labs.
You got names for them?
Yes, Bear and Bruin.
Did those are awesome names. Did Peyton get a vote, or was that just a Dan decision?
My first one was I was going to call the one Baron and the other dog Trump. So if at a park walking them or running them, I could go, Baron, Trump, come here, and just piss liberals off in California. She's like, I think the Trump's a little drastic. So then we went Bear and Bruin. I gave in on one.
I think it's lovely. And when do you get them?
Probably in about 3 weeks. I got to go way to Northern California, fly up, rent an SUV, drive them back, get to know them.
What are they going to do to the wiener dog? You got this old wiener dog.
He's like 13. I think he's going to lead them around. Because dogs, listen, what do dogs do? They do a little butt sniffing and they figure out who's going to be what. It's kind of like men, right? Who's the bigger in town? You sniff around, you figure out who's the top dog and, who's the lion, who's the sheep with men. Dogs are the same way. These dogs are 19 months old. They're going to sniff the 13-year-old's butt and go, he's in charge. I think they'll follow him around the property.
This is
he's the older dog.
TikTok gold. If you can capture this moment and it plays out exactly as you have laid out before.
If you're a breeder, let me know if that's true.
But so you say lab. I've never had a lab, but I've heard the stereotype that they're dumb.
Golden retrievers I would not do. I've been around them with my uncle. Besides the longer hair and the shedding, they whine, they're needy, and I've seen them not be that bright. Chocolate and black English
the same
labs.
way about sorority girls.
Chocolate and black English labs, not American, I've been around them since I was 5 or 6, like 4 of them probably, because they make it about 11, 12 years. They're very smart. They're great hunters. They're great. I mean, if you go out and hunt waterfowl, those dogs I don't care if it's 2 degrees.
Do you hunt
shoot
waterfowl?
A duck, boom, everything, man. Come on.
Okay, all right.
Whale, duck.
You guys don't have enough water
pheasant,
here to have waterfowl.
Deer. I might go bear hunting soon up in Oregon with a friend.
Don't bring the dogs to that, though.
No.
All right.
No. Been hunting? You and I have not talked about this.
No, I think the bird hunting is probably the coolest.
Okay.
The hog hunting is very environmentally helpful because the hogs tear everything up in Florida. And so if you go out and do a little hog hunting, you're saving the bird rookeries and you're saving the habitat for...
You know who we're going to have on the show soon? Who is a huge conservationist, because that's what real hunters are, right? You have to thin the herd from disease, from starvation, is good old Uncle Ted Nugent. If you noticed, obviously, we've got Ted's Stranglehold as our theme song, and I talked to his people yesterday. In about 2 weeks, he'll be on the program to talk about hunting and life and Uncle Ted's world, because he is an awesome character. I love Ted.
Not a moderate. No. Not a moderate.
I mean, if you want to enjoy, I think that's 2 weeks from now, make sure you tune into that episode, because Uncle Ted will tear it up. And he's promised to take us on a hunt if you want to go. I'm trying to line it up. Maybe you, me, Tucker, some other people. Aaron Lewis wants to go.
Very cool.
And he does either deer or hog hunting. He's got a ranch in Michigan and in Texas. You can pick depending on season.
Oh, hog hunting in Texas, you can get the AR and go from the helicopter.
I know. I saw your old friend MTG do that. Didn't Marjorie Taylor do that once? I saw she was in a chopper.
She did it as a fundraiser. Oh, very fun. So your buddy Chad Bianco's running for governor.
That's what they say.
So what's your take?
It's dropping in a few hours. My take is...
Tell everybody who Chad Bianco is.
Yeah, if folks don't know, as Donald Trump would say, straight out of Central Casting. Bianco's got the groomed Fu Manchu, the cowboy hat. He's the Riverside County, California sheriff. He's one of the few sheriffs in this state and probably in the country that stands up for Second Amendment all the way. He pushed back on Newsom and the idiots in Sacramento during the COVID lockdowns and said, I'm not checking on people to see if they've got a vax card or shutting restaurants down. He was like, big middle finger. He's been very vocal.
Do people know him outside of his area? That's usually the hard thing when you run statewide is you got to get people outside your area to have name recognition.
Riverside County, don't quote me on the size of it. It's in the top, I want to say 3 or 4 counties in the state of California. It's one of the biggest. And yes, he is known throughout the state because the mainstream media in the major markets, San Francisco, LA, and San Diego, lit him up during COVID when he was in charge for pushing back and giving the big FU to Newsom. So yes, I think he's known in California as a ball buster of Newsom. So you got him in. You've got that bald Brit named Steve Hilton from Fox Business News who's in. Nobody's official, but they're all in.
Right.
And then businessman Grant Cardone. Again, not in, but he's doing like this.
Grant Cardone was telling me how his house got burnt down on your show.
Yeah, right. Because the Malibu Strip. Right. He was like the only house that didn't burn.
I love Grant. Grant's all energy, but Grant's on there like, you won't believe it. We won't be able to rebuild our $8 million house. And I'm like, somewhere there's a farmer in middle America that might have less sympathy for some zip codes than others.
I know. Grant, love you, but bro, a lot of those people are going to be like, hey man, we cannot relate to you.
Trump loves Grant. He
does.
relies on him for a lot of financial market stuff.
Yep. And then I also hear Nicole Shanahan, the Maha gal that was with Bobby on the ticket, right?
Yeah.
She may jump in as an independent. Then you've got the
she ran into my
up
wife
in LA.
surfing. My wife was surfing in El Salvador, and like on the wave next to her was Nicole Shanahan, and my sweet wife comes out of the water because, of course, I'm having papusas on shore. With
You're not surfing with the
nice
sharks?
little coffee. No. But she comes out and she's like, can you believe I just met the person that was running for vice president with RFK Jr.? And apparently she's a really nice lady. Do you think that an independent path works in California, or do you think that somebody has to kind of get on the red team or the blue team here?
So you and I have had this discussion privately. The recall effort in general is a tough sell in this state because for some reason, Californians have some sort of brain lapse, memory loss. They forget what Gavin has done to this state in the 6 years he's been in. He came in with a multi-billion-dollar surplus. We were in the black all day long. We are now negative, I think, 60-some billion. So he's blown $100-some billion.
What did he spend it on?
Illegals.
Yeah, not fire prevention.
Not a speed rail, right? High-speed rail. Not that. Trump's investigating that. So he's wasted our money. He's allowed millions of illegals in. He's allowed taxes to go crazy. And how many thousands of businesses fled? Elon's one of them. So, but you got to convince people to do the recall this summer. We'll see if we get enough signatures to recall him. And then if he gets recalled, who are we going to put in? Because you know that's how it works in California. We will have a special election, and it's 2 questions. Do you want to recall Newsom? Yes or no? Who do you want? Here's 12 names. Pick the one with the most wins.
And then like that's always where California gets like Caitlyn Jenner, a porn star.
There's going to be 18 people on the damn ballot. There'll be Democrats, Republicans, Independents.
So crazy.
And then again, if you win later this fall, you're only getting 1 year because then you have another election next November for the actual real 4-year term.
That sounds all crazy.
I know.
To me.
Why do you think I didn't jump in? I was thinking about it. It's going to be a shit show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do think one thing you have here that I like are your seals. Have I told you about my obsession with your California seals?
Are they different than Florida seals?
We don't have any.
Oh.
We don't the water doesn't get cold enough for
That
seals.
makes sense.
We have dolphins.
Okay.
But I rolled up on some seals out in La Jolla Cove. Mm-hmm. And they're just like the coolest thing ever. They have
Are you
like
in a big
these
boat,
baby
a little
seals.
boat on the
No,
shore?
they were just. I was just walking down the shoreline, and they roll up, and it's like the birthing season.
Don't
so there's
mess with
all
them.
these little babies out there. Oh, mess with them. They're adorable. I'm just watching.
if you get close, Mama will. You know what you
I
up.
didn't have an urge to get close.
I'm just
I
saying-
was watching from afar.
Have you not seen the videos of these dumb tourists that come to Cali and think, I'll go down to La Jolla shores where you see all the babies on those rocks.
right.
Oh, let's go pet the cute little... And then it comes after you and bites your damn leg off. Like, don't be stupid, people.
Yeah.
Leave Mother Nature alone.
Those people deserve that. I would defend that seal in court in such a circumstance. I
And
hear
you
that
would win.
If humans touch them, their herd will like not accept them back. So you're condemning the seal to death with your touch.
I don't think people know what a heck of a litigator you used to be because they just see you as the congressman who kicked ass for 8 years and now the talk show host. But you had a lot of success. If I get in trouble, I'm calling Gates.
I represented some swans once.
Some swans.
Yeah.
Were they
yeah.
pissing off an HOA?
It was the actually you're really over the target. Yeah, no, an HOA had been feeding some swans and a guy came and took them, and then I represented the HOA to get them back. Under the legal theory of trover and replevin, if you're watching.
So you've set precedents now.
I don't know about all that.
Swans are protected.
I did set precedent because I would sue the government when they would not follow transparency laws. And then they would have to pay my legal fees, like for, I would sue on behalf of a client. But I did hold some of the larger awards when you would have a government entity that would have secret meetings or wouldn't turn over their texts or emails. In Florida, that's kind of our antiseptic to corruption, is we have very strong open government laws. Like 2 people on a city council can't go get a beer and talk about work together. Illegal.
Wow.
Do not pass go, do not collect $200, go directly to jail if you do that. If 2 people on a school board discuss what color the roof should be outside of a noticed public meeting, that can be a crime. And so that
I like that.
Yeah, it cleans it up. Everybody gets to see everything play out.
Has that been in law in Florida?
Yeah, we put it in the
long
Constitution. We put it in the state constitution. Jeb Bush strengthened those laws. Even they've
20-some years ago.
Yeah, they've received a lot of bipartisan support. And if you ever want to repeal one of the open access laws, you need like 2/3 of the legislature to do it. So there was a good old boy network that in the 60s and 70s reigned over a lot of Florida, and we didn't want that reputation. And a lot of other states have copied our open government laws, which actually is how stuff should work, right?
I was going to say, can we please make that like nationally in all 50 states? Because that's not how stuff works here in California. As I'm sure you're finding out in 6 weeks, right, of being here, that's not how Sacramento works. That place is such a, like, I wonder if it's more corrupt and dirtier than Washington, D.C.
Well, they don't
Probably not, but it's a close second.
Yeah, they should have part-time legislature. You should not have a full-time state legislature.
Oh, no.
I don't think we should have a full-time Congress. Like, frankly, if you want a hot take, I don't think we should have a full-time Congress. I think you should have a real job. Congress should be something you get a little stipend for. It shouldn't be a six-figure income. You should do your work, and then you should return home and live among the people whose laws you're making.
Yeah.
And then
no insider trading.
Forever.
And no insider trading. Right, Matt? Like Auntie Nancy.
She had a big trade this last month. She had one go up over 150%. Some AI stock she bet on.
Can I get tips on that ahead of time?
You can follow Quiver Quantitative. We're not being paid to say this, but Quiver Quantitative is actually an account that tracks all the members of Congress's trades, and as soon as they're made, they're posted, and then lo and behold, you'll see they'll quote tweet the initial publication of the trade and say, "Oh, this is increased
really
79%."
Hold on a second.
Quiver Quantitative. While you're checking that out,
get my phone. What's
healthcare should be simple, not a constant battle with red tape, restrictions, and shortages, right? You shouldn't have to jump through hoops to get medication you need, and that's why you need to check out All Family Pharmacy. They believe in your right to choose and make it easy to get essential medications like ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, all kind of different antibiotics, and more. Just visit allfamilypharmacy.com. Get what you need. They'll handle the rest. And a licensed doctor is going to be there to provide the prescription. You don't even have to worry about that. Your meds are going to be shipped right to your door. It's that simple. Let's be real. Being prepared is non-negotiable, whether it's another virus or supply chain issues or crazy government restrictions. You want to have essential medications at your disposal. That's what's going to give you peace of mind. So stock up now. Be ready. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Matt and use code MATT10 for 10% off your order. That's allfamilypharmacy.com/Matt, because your health should be in your hands. And you know what? I had a circumstance with my own family where I had a family member who went without their prescription meds for a few days. We are joined by another Anchorman. Isn't that exciting, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, we named this show the Anchormen Podcast, and we have a brand new, and by the way, Matt, let me point out, since I've been in the biz a little bit longer than our new guest here and yourself, I always point out to folks, we host opinionated talk shows, and anchormen that do the news are supposed to be news journalists that report the facts, unvarnished and unbiased. We do opinion shows, but we thought Anchorman was more fun. And Riley is our brand new host of The Real Story with Riley Lewis here on the One America News Network. So we thought one of our first guests on the Anchorman Podcast should be another Anchorman.
Tell us about your
Riley?
show.
Yeah, well, by the way, I have to say, this setup right here is perfect.
You like our
podcast.
set?
It's a really nice environment. It's
cooler than the old news style sets, right? With all the lights and the desk and the suits and the...
My blood pressure drops 20 points just when I step on this carpet. I just feel so relaxed, like I'm here with my homie. But the new show is up and running. It has an incredible energy. You start the show with a monologue that frames up a key issue of the day. And tell us how you're liking it.
It's great so far. I mean, great team. We're just a few days in, but it's been really, really good so far. And I think we're just getting better with each tape. I mean, there's really no substitution for time in the host chair. So just doing that and getting into a groove is really what we're doing right now. But I mean, there's no shortage of stuff to talk about. And so every day it's actually quite challenging. We have 52 minutes of program time, and I have to figure out, I have hours of things I could say. How do I whittle it down to just the juiciest stuff? Because I just could never stop. So it's actually pretty challenging just to narrow it down to the stuff that's most important to hit program time.
Yeah. I love Riley's story in that he came on board One America News a couple of years ago as a writer and then producing shows. So he was behind the scenes in our newsroom. And then he started filling in for different talk show hosts when they were on vacation, sick, whatever. You took over for Tipping Point for a few months while Kara was out on maternity leave.
That's right.
And the viewers took to this guy like amazing. They were like, who is this Riley Lewis guy? And so just in the last, week, Mr. Herring and the awesome bosses that we have here at OAN decided, let's give Riley his own primetime show. So here he is with the real story.
Dude, he's our leadoff hitter now in the primetime.
It's true. You lead off, I'm in the middle, and you wrap it up. You clean it up, right?
It is going to be
the perfect
epic.
ordering, I really think, for the viewers. But I do want to express my gratitude to everyone, to you, Matt, and also to the Herring family for all the opportunity, because they've given me so many chances to thrive and succeed and just grow as a person and a host. So I'm extremely grateful.
So you were telling me about
he deserves it. This kid works hard as hell, man.
Well, you were telling me about some of your influences in media, and I thought that it would be really interesting to hear like what brought you to this moment in your career and how you view the opportunity.
So viewing the opportunity, I mean, it's really such a massive undertaking, but I get to join the conversation. I mean, as a kid, I grew up on people like Rush, Tucker Carlson. I mean, so I was always a fan of talk radio, TV, and I thought to myself, if I could find a way to do that, then that would be a dream come true. So, I mean, for me, it was like I was such a big fan of just consuming that content. At some point, it's like I'm tired of just intaking it. I want to be able to add. I want to be able to move the needle forward and join these people. So, hopefully, my goal is that people I used to just look up to and watch can become my colleagues and partners and friends of mine. So, it's really surreal to see that start to play out here, and I hope to continue down that path.
That's what I love about his story, because there's only a little bit of age gap, right? 50 to 25 or 6, so double. But I remember being Riley and sitting at home, right, in the 80s and 90s with my very conservative grandma, watching certain news figures like Walter Cronkite every night, right? And then sitting there and going, I want to do that. I want to be on TV. I want to inform and entertain people. And that's Riley 20-some years later, and he's getting to live his dream thanks to OAN. I think this is an amazing story with him coming online.
Yeah, what's your favorite story you're covering right now?
I mean, honestly, everything that's going on with Doge, with FEMA, with USAID. Look, because here's the thing. I mean, you hear about just reports, and it's like the more you read, the less you want to know. I just didn't understand how corrupt the government was, and I want to be clear. When I was growing up, I just trusted in the government. I trusted in the institutions. I no longer do. I think that's their fault.
When did you cross the line on that?
Really in 2016, when Trump came, really 2015, when Trump came down the escalator, and you saw this coordinated effort unfold to attack the one guy who goes to Washington who says, I had a thriving life and a business career, but I'm going to sacrifice that.
You were a Trump guy from day one. Yes. Dan was a Trump guy from day one.
Absolutely.
Damn right.
That was, it's so non-controversial, putting the American people first. How did we have, how was this even a conversation? So the second I thought that, it was like, that's
common
it for
sense,
me. I'm
right?
totally bought in, 100%.
Common sense.
This should be the baseline. That should be the normal expectation for every single person in Washington. I don't understand why that's such a controversial take.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't understand why they're going after Trump so hard. But when I saw that in 2015, it was like, here he is descending down the escalator from the elite swamps of DC or New York or whatever, coming down to the people. A true man of the people. That, I think it speaks volumes truly about his character.
Is there something weird about the fact that the most man of the people president is
a
septuagenarian billionaire?
Yeah,
right. I know. But you know what? Listen to him. He'll always say on the podcast, which was brilliant during the campaign to get on those podcasts with Theo Vaughn and regular folks and just hash it up for 1, 2, 3 hours, he's like, I always felt more at home on the job sites with the regular dudes. He always says that when he had to go to the millionaire, billionaire parties in New York, they always kind of, they wouldn't brush him aside because of who he is and his cash, but he never felt.
Well, the NFL wouldn't let him join.
There was a connection.
You're right about that. There was.
He'd rather go to the job site and bullshit with the plumber and the guys walking the freaking girders and the beams up there, thousands of. Those are the people he gets. Just because you have money doesn't mean you still can't relate or be relatable. Yes. Trump has proven that, and the moment you're talking about is the same for me. I can tell you, Matt, where I was in a local newsroom when Trump did that. And the minute they put out the BS narrative that he called every Mexican a rapist and a murderer, I started going off in the newsroom I was working in, and I believe it was the NBC affiliate in Palm Springs, California, and screw you for still lying to people. And the folks I worked with and I got into it in that newsroom because I'm like, that's not what Trump said. And they're broadcasting it because every affiliate did. Oh, he called Mexicans murderers and rapists. No, he didn't. And from there, I was 100% down on Trump, and I was also 100% against my own profession of 30 years because I saw then how the media started manipulating and lying. We already seen how they covered for Obama's ass for 8 years, and I was already pissed off about that. But then they start lying about Trump on top of covering for Obama, and I was done with this industry.
Yeah, that's the moment I lost almost
the
all
mainstream.
my faith. Yeah, and really just I don't understand exactly, again, why, but this coordinated effort just completely was unfolding. And it was media, it was local state politicians, it was this uniparty establishment in D.C. that said, this guy is a threat. And it's like the harder they pushed, the more I became interested. I started reading about it.
You guys saw it before me. You guys saw it before me because it took the Russia hoax for me to understand that our federal law enforcement are just politicians with badges. And
Well, yeah, because you saw the FISA stuff and how they manipulated and that email from the
when I
corrupt
ran
attorney.
for Congress, I thought the FBI were the good guys.
We all did. I wanted to be one. I wanted to be a G-man as a kid.
We're like for the people trying to stop pandemics from spreading. But then through the Russia hoax, I became radicalized against the systems that had turned. But you guys were on the front end of the wave.
Well, because you're young, aspiring to be in the media. I was already in the middle of the media for years, since 1996. And so in 2015, I'm literally watching my colleagues lie and swallow the Trump lies, hook, line, and sinker. And then when I would try to, not on the air, but in the newsroom, have a discussion or debate with them that Trump's not that bad a guy and they're lying about him and da-da-da, man, I would get shut down. We get into yelling matches, and then news directors would tell me to be quiet because, of course, they were liberal and they would side with the other.
Dan, you're creating a hostile work environment again with your domestic terrorism views, and your MAGA hat, and your belief that maybe not every illegal immigrant is here for a new life.
I do have to say, though, I mean, because this is just, it was a grift from the very minute it started, and it was clear to me because Trump went from being universally loved in media, in business. He's hanging out with rappers in New York City. Oprah Winfrey is joking about running for president with him. I mean,
she did like 3 times over 30 years with him. Go look at the clips.
Totally. The ladies of The View are like gushing over him. And then overnight, he's this evil, tyrant, racist, fascist. And it's like, it felt so disingenuous. And that's why I just stopped trusting in what they had to say.
See, that goes to show how sheepish so many of the liberal people over the last 10 years, since 2015, believe the media and these celebrities instead of their own freaking eyes and ears.
Yes.
Because you just said it. How the hell could everybody love Trump for 30, 40 years in the entertainment industry, sports world, music world, da-da-da, and they flip because he put an R in front of his name on the ballot instead of a D.
We loved you until we heard the things you actually believe. And now we're not so sure anymore. It's why my favorite Trump book is Letters to Trump, because it's all of those figures you just described, writing him these glowing letters about his vision and his success. Yeah. And now they're the very same people that would like decline an invitation to the White House if they
most of them wouldn't. There'd be a couple, obviously Oprah's not going to show up, or Joy Reid or Joy Behar and some of those that used to kiss his ass. But I guarantee you those rappers, the football stars.
Donald Trump might be the most successful relationship with a man that Oprah's had.
Yeah. Well, look, again, it's one of those weird things where they just expect people to blindly, because they're looking at the media angle, they just expect people to blindly believe in their propaganda. They just spoon feed you misinformation all day long, and it's really insulting.
I think it's changing, though. I think it's changing, Riley, because I think that the way people get information now is far more fragmented. It's not that one pipeline that Dan's parents were used to getting with the 5 o'clock news. Yeah, people are seeing stuff on social media. They are getting thousands of different sources directed at them. One thing that is so delicious, like my favorite thing I'm covering right now, is how the Democrats are reacting to Doge.
Oh, yeah.
Because
hilarious!
Because there's a theory of the case that the smart approach for them would have actually been join in, claim credit for part of it, and then blame the Republicans for the stuff that isn't popular, and say that like the Doge stuff that's popular they're for, and the stuff that's unpopular the Republicans are for. Tactically, that would have been an approach. But now the fact that they're against the entire enterprise of finding waste, like, puts them on the side of the Peruvian transgender comic book.
Yes.
And like you've been
Sesame
covering
Street in Iraq.
Yeah, and I think Republicans made this mistake during the Obama years, where we would oppose anything Obama was for, and that allowed him to define what we stood for and against as a party.
Yep.
And they are falling into this trap big time. I think.
Because listen, there's no way that 51% of the American voting population believes that cutting spending is a bad thing. Why would
especially on this stuff? Like, this isn't the widows and the orphans.
Absolutely not.
Like, you guys have been covering this stuff. It's the craziest thing you could imagine.
Insane expenditure.
I honestly hope that it's just money laundering and not this actual stuff. I would rather believe that like the CIA is running guns and money than believe that we're funding the DEI seminar in Serbia.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, is it corruption? Is it incompetence? I don't know what's going on.
It's not incompetence.
I don't think
No.
it is, but I also think it is weird to sort of put yourself in a situation. You look at USAID as one example. So it's supposed to be an aid agency, but then we're funding Iraq and Sesame Street. So at first it's like, okay, well, you say it's about aid, but clearly it's not. And then they go, okay, it's not, but it's about advancing U.S. soft power on the world stage. Well, so then why do you need to do that through an aid agency?
How does $8 million to Politico help foreign nations? They gave $8 million last year to Politico.
Absolutely.
And the overall bill since 2017 was 40 how many million, guys?
Yeah.
What does giving Politico, a left-leaning online have to do with helping foreign affairs and international affairs with the United States of America? Nothing. You just wanted to push
it's a
up
bribe.
Politico.
It's just a bribe.
Yes, so Politico would do the bidding of the deep swamp and the left, and then shut down organizations like the one we all work for, gentlemen, because we know what the heck happened to us. We're Democrat sitting United States senators, 4 of them, and 2 members of Congress from California, all wrote letters to all the satellite and cable carriers and then our advertisers saying, pull OAN down for mis and disinformation, but we're going to give $40 million frickin' dollars to Politico to lie to the American people and keep their subscriptions up. Look it up. It's a fact.
At least Politico's American. They were giving money to Reuters. Reuters is British. Like we're paying. That's a sad commentary on the state of the American media that we have to go and pay off foreign media to do large scale influence operations. That's not America first.
Can we ask Riley, so we can get off politics for a second, because this podcast was supposed to be not political all the time.
We started on Valentine's Day. And
That's what I'm going to go back to, because I don't even know if this guy has a gal or not. I mean, you and I have known each other for a bit, and I know Ginger, you know Peyton, we know our wives. Let's turn it back to some bro conversation, because they can watch our talk shows for the politics. Got a gal? What are you doing for Valentine's Day?
Absolutely nothing. Nothing.
See,
Riley.
now you've heard the worst story.
Riley.
I'm looking.
Let's
for that
get into
special lady.
this. Okay.
Oh,
where,
okay.
Where are you looking?
Well, I'm.
Church, grocery stores.
I've tried the app scene for the first time ever.
I can't blame you. 50%
Dicey.
of couples in America right now are formed on the apps. I don't get it. I would not have presented well on the apps. But when half of the couples are meeting on the apps, you got to have some sort of line in the water there.
Well,
Do you know, hold on real quick, do you know why you wouldn't do well on the apps? Can you cue this up, Jared? You know why you wouldn't do? Because this sound bite is going to follow you everywhere, and people are going to be like, ah! Just roll the famous Matt Gaetz sound bite.
Is it safe to say that based off of your comments, you're suggesting that these women at these abortion rallies are ugly and overweight?
Yes.
What do you say to people who think that those comments are offensive?
Be offended.
iconic.
Be offended, Matt. Be offended.
Plenty were.
You're on a dating website, and Matt's like, I believe this and this. Women are like, oh my God, I'm offended.
Oh no, women
Matt's
want
answer,
the alphas.
Be offended.
No, I push back strong on that. But all right, so you've had the dating app scene. Like, have you had like a really good date out of the apps?
Surprisingly, yes. Actually,
Which ones?
I had it didn't end up working out long term, but I went on a few dates with a really nice girl from Coronado. Actually,
Nice.
island right off San Diego.
Which apps, though? Which apps?
Oh, okay. So Hinge is the one that I've been using.
I hear.
But here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them, and at first I didn't know where to go, so I asked some friends of mine and just looked for some data, and I've heard decent things. I actually know some people that have got good relationships.
You didn't try that farmers.com or
No. Look, Hinge is supposed to be the app that gets you off the other apps. I've learned this.
Okay.
It's a dating app, and it's supposed to be where you're not there for like a hookup.
That's right.
You're not there for a casual thing. The people there are there to like find their person. That said, there's a lot of creeps on Hinge. Like I've heard.
I'm still new to it.
I've heard. All right, so you go on Hinge and you meet a girl from Coronado. Now the reason that would terrify me is there are so many Navy SEALs and Navy guys in Coronado that whenever I like would connect with a chick that's from an area like that, I would think, well, I mean,
what
she's got better options. She's got to watch Navy SEAls swimming in their skivvies outside, like, every morning. What do I have to offer? But you didn't let that deter you, right?
No, absolutely not. I mean, there's no harm in looking and trying, and it's still new. But
what do you put on the Hinge profile to really?
Can you put yourself out there and say, I work at OAN?
Politics or no politics?
No politics.
No politics.
Not at first. No. Well, and I'm still debating.
What about hobbies?
Hobbies, yeah, definitely. So music is one that's big for me. So I put that out there because it's something I think is actually maybe useful. I can play music for people. I write music. That's been a big part of my
You
life.
could serenade them.
Oh, by the
Totally.
by the
That's
way,
opened doors for me in the past. So why not?
Oh, hold on. Fellas.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
open doors for you?
Yeah. Well,
Like open doors and opened.
Well,
Come on, give it. Let's go.
What girl doesn't like a guy who can play music?
I
and
know. Wait,
sing?
are you singing or are you making the, like, what are you doing? You mean music wise? What are you doing? Playing the piano for him, guitar?
So guitar started with just like classical, but I used to be in a band in college, and that actually worked for me pretty well. So I had a keyboard player and a drummer and another guitar player.
You're not the annoying guy that grabs
was the name of
guitar
the
and
band?
sits down and kumbaya around the fire and annoys all of us regular bros. Okay, good. Just making sure.
I need the band name.
Don't be that guy.
Band name? I don't think we didn't even have a name, actually.
Your band didn't have a name?
We went as Untitled at any college event, but we played mostly just dorm parties, really.
I could see why the chicks were throwing themselves at you. The drummer from Untitled is here.
That's right.
What did you play? Were you like Blink 180? Wait,
said-
I'm trying to get age bracket here.
yeah, well,
Garage
Blink
music?
songs.
yeah, a lot of modern rock, a lot of classic rock too. So Zeppelin was big, Pink Floyd, Dire Straits, that kind of
Nice,
stuff. You know,
nice.
Eagles though. So lots of different stuff, and then some soft rock. I've learned that ladies like kind of 80s, 90s soft rock. So Christopher Cross kind of stuff. You know,
Christopher Cross.
that's right. Yeah, you know.
Dire Straits isn't classic. They were 80s, bro. Ease up.
Okay.
I'm a 70s
Well-
baby.
Well, they came out in the 70s. But
Classic rock is 60s, 70s. It's not 80s.
Our
60s,
age group,
70s.
Dan, always had that special mix you put on when a special
When the
friend
ladies came over, that's
Right.
true.
You always had the
I did have a
special
mixtape,
mix
yes.
that was like this is going to be a more relaxed
Gonna woo 'em.
and delightful environment. So what was on the Dan Balt mixtape? I had a lot of like early John Mayer. A lot of Room for Squares was on
That's old. I'm gonna sound way old. I didn't put any of that new crap on there.
well, what was on the Dan Ball
Eagles?
romance tape?
Yeah.
I mean,
I would have-
it's the Valentine's Day episode. So
I would have Eagles probably.
Peaceful Easy Feeling or Hotel California.
All of them actually.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of
Just a steady stream
bunch
of
of Eagles
Eagles.
is
one of
pretty
these
chill.
nights, Lion Eyes.
One
like,
of these nights.
Lion Eyes, you don't put that on. That's
No,
like
no, that's a bad one.
That's
sure?
a later
Bad
one.
call. Bad call.
All
bad
right,
call.
Oh no, you can't. Lion Eyes.
I would put even, but again, in high school, if I'm dating some of the hippie style chicks, then you'd have some Grateful Dead on there too. 'Cause I was a little
Did
bit
you
of a
have
deadhead.
a different
It was a little bit
getting
of
it on mix depending on the person? Like this
Are
is
our
a
wives
hair
watching
band
this
kind of
podcast,
girl.
by the way? You know how much you're going to get us into, right, Matt? When I go home. Thank you.
Well, my wife actually used Riley's strategy. She is a musician, and she would write songs, and she would record them during COVID, and she would send me like a little cover song.
Really?
And it was so
that's-
delightful.
that's beautiful.
I was very wooed by that.
Wow. We know who the better half is in this relationship.
Clearly,
I will say one other strategy I learned. This worked well in college, and I think beyond too. But playing records, actually listening to albums with someone, opening
The
it
sound.
up. You take the sleeve, you look at the pictures on the inside.
vinyl.
Absolutely.
vinyl.
Yeah, there's a power, a special power
Yeah.
to a record player, a vinyl, and just sitting down and listening to an album.
And that transcends generations. Because my
Women are
wife's
going to
younger.
watch this
She
on
loves albums.
Valentine's Day, and your DMs are going to be loaded up. They're going to be like, "Who is this sweet man who is willing to
He pulls out
listen
vinyl.
to music,
He'll compose a song for me.
enjoy time?"
You'll make him dinner probably.
Totally.
You'll bring him flowers.
You cook?
Totally.
All right. What would be your go-to Valentine's Day dish that you would make?
Depends, but I really like a chicken Alfredo or like a pasta dish. I'm a big pasta guy.
That's a little thick for Valentine's Day.
I know.
Riley.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But
You're gonna
Think about after dinner. You don't want to be all loaded
Yeah.
and bloated down with a bunch of pasta.
I'm thinking like a
in
lean
case.
protein, like a Chateaubriand. What are you going with when ideal Valentine's Day? You have to cook it. It can't just be anything you dream
Yeah,
up.
no.
Don't come at me with some beef Wellington. I know you don't know how to make that.
I do, but I'm not. Let's see, because I need to figure this out since we're hours away and I haven't. I would say that my wife will want me to probably get a really high-end steak and grill it to perfection. And then she'll do a Caesar salad with it because she loves Caesar. She'll eat a Caesar salad 10 times in a week. And a great bottle of Cab. And that's it. I can keep it simple.
That sounds
She's not a huge sweet tooth person, no dessert, like any of that. I'll eat the dessert. I'll make creme brulee, one of my favorite, but she won't. Steak, Caesar, great wine, good music, she'll be good. And then just great eye contact and listening, gentlemen, listening.
Do you think,
And then you're in like Flynn.
Yeah, and I honestly think that the home cooked meal is the better Valentine's Day approach because the restaurants are ripping you off.
Oh,
Yes.
4 times markup on the bottle of wine? Yeah.
When it's not even like really their best stuff, they do some special menu.
They do.
So,
Prefix. Yep.
You know what? You may be listening to this and watching this as you're preparing your Valentine's Day meal. And ordering your ivermectin.
Take some advice from
All
us.
Family Pharma.
Because we know what to do. Ask our wives. When are they coming on? We should get them on here to have a little chat and see what they have to say about us.
I haven't told them that we have this show.
Well, my wife knows because she's here every day in the building. Usually sitting behind the camera watching us do this. Today she had to go home because we're remodeling the new house.
When
We're busy.
people watch this episode and they go back and they say, well, we have to start from the beginning and watch the other ones, they will find a very important discussion we had about cargo pants and cargo shorts in episode 2.
I took crap for that, by the way.
Peyton was holding out on us because your wife was wearing cargo pants at the time.
With the string instead of a belt, tying them in the back like the young kids do these days. I had no clue till my teenager came home, and she had these baggy pants down off the waist with a string, and then they tie a bow in the back.
What?
And I'm like, yeah, they don't use a belt.
Does the bow mean anything? Do different colors have meaning?
No, it's like a white, thin piece of string. They loop it around twice and then just tie it in the back, and it holds their pants. Plus, they wear them way low now, and they want them big and baggy, and I don't like that look, but whatever. Whatever
Who's
they
your
want to do.
dream
Whatever you
guest?
want to do, dear. Whatever you want.
I want to know Riley. We only got a few minutes. I want to know Riley's dream guest on his brand new terrific
Yes,
show.
the real story with Riley Lewis.
They have to be alive.
Weeknights at 6 Eastern?
right. That's
6
right.
Eastern.
Dream guest. There's a lot of them. I think it would be cool to get Ted Nugent on actually to talk guns. That would be.
We could probably
gonna be
make
here
that
in 2
happen.
weeks.
You're-
I'd like to.
He's coming here in 2 weeks. Just come up and
Yeah.
hang out.
That would
Okay.
be a dream.
Your dream guest of any living human was Ted Nugent.
Well, of any living, if we're going
Any
that,
living
music.
human.
if we're going that,
I love Ted. Ted, don't be offended by that or be offended. But I'm just saying any living human.
well, I don't want to. I mean, if we're going literally any human, I would
Yeah.
say Paul McCartney.
Ooh, he is a music lover.
There's no way. I mean,
Ladies, he's single.
he's got to have so many good stories, Paul McCartney. And,
Oh, yeah.
And I grew up on the Beatles, and I want to know the craziest stuff he's seen in his lifetime. I mean, and he
Favorite
probably met everybody,
Beatles album?
It's their early work, I think, was really special, but maybe Abbey Road. I mean, just because all the way through on vinyl, it sounds so good. So
I
well
love
produced.
Sgt. Pepper. Love
Yeah.
the White Album.
Yeah, the White Album's all right.
I think if we're talking about dead musicians, I'd like to just, have a few edibles with Jerry Garcia for a couple hours.
Oh, yeah.
That would be some cool
All right,
stories.
any living human you could interview on Real America.
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood.
You
Then
picked
my
Friends.
favorite. I love Clint Eastwood. I met him once, and I'll tell this quick story because I know we only got a few minutes left. And James Woods, of course, we know is a patriot. Clint is a patriot. I was working local news, Palm Springs market. I want to say 2002 or 3, about the time I met Trump. The story I told you on the first episode. And friends of mine owned a steakhouse in the Palm Desert area in Southern California. And I was in there eating, and the owner came over and said, "Hey, I know you're a huge Clint fan. We've talked about it before. You know that my dad knows him very well because of in Carmel, California. I guess they had a business together, the Hog's Breath restaurant. Clint's on his way here from playing golf out at PJ West with James Woods. I would call your newsroom, get a camera guy, and we'd probably get you like a couple minutes with him when they enter the restaurant." I'm like, sweet. So I put down my booze, stop drinking, it's work time, call, get a camera guy over there. Sure enough, in a few minutes, here comes Clint Eastwood and James Woods. And I'm pretty sure they had a couple cocktails on the golf course, like we all do. And one of the first things out of Woods' mouth was, he says, I forget how we brought this up about having cocktails or whatever, but James says that Clint was out there dropping acid with him, and that's why they're all kind of messed up. And Clint's like, "Damn it, Jimmy!" And he gets all mad at him, and he's so tall and lanky and whatever, and James is just laughing and whatever. And then so James goes on, and I interview Clint for like 2-3 minutes, and they go into their
Did
dinner.
it seem like he was on acid?
No, they just had some cocktails.
Okay.
But Woods was being funny. Maybe, I don't know.
Did he talk to like the pink elephant in the corner?
No, they seemed fine, just like they had a couple cocktails on the course. But that little, just couple minutes, and looking at Clint's entire career, right? From starting on television at 17 or 18 years old, and now he's 94. He just finished his last project.
Is he 94 already?
93, 94, I swear.
Really?
And he just finished a film that he wrote, I think. For sure he directed it. He still composes music. I mean, the guy does the whole facet of filmmaking. And he's become a big enough icon and name to tell the studios whatever and do his own thing.
Do you remember when he
And
had
he's a
that crazy
patriot.
bit with the
Empty chair talking to Barack Obama. Yeah,
All right, so if
that's mine. How
you
about
guys
yours?
want a very different direction, I would probably like go with Vladimir Putin.
Oof.
Interesting.
Tucker's been there.
And then like the Ayatollah maybe would be on my list.
Really?
And then like Bill Clinton. Like that rounds out my top 3.
These are
I feel like
interviews.
with all of those people, I'd have a lot to talk about.
These are interviews, not double dates. You're talking about interviews.
Yes, not my Valentine's Day date.
No, not
Frankly, you know what? If I could interview Bill Clinton, the Ayatollah, or Vladimir Putin, I would do it on Valentine's Day. And I would even cook for him.
Matt, let me tell you what. If you come out with me on Valentine's Day, we'd have a hell of a time.
Wouldn't you love to interview Bill Clinton?
I did.
Get
For
it.
about 2 minutes. Tarmac, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 1995-ish. I'm working for AFARTS, Armed Forces Radio Television Service, active duty Air Force. Air Force One landed at Kirtland Air Force Base, and he was going to talk to local schools in Albuquerque about uniforms in schools. Plus, he was on the base doing downsizing, so we were all worried we were going to get closed down. And I was at the end of the receiving line where all the dignitaries, you've been there before, all the dignitaries are lined up in uniform and the politicians to kiss the ring. And I was just there to document and ask him a question or some crap, and that's all. All I remember about him is the broken blood vessels that you get when you're an Elkie on your nose and face, and he smelled like booze. That's what I remember about Bill Clinton.
I tell you what a lovely note for us to end on Valentine's Day.
That I told you something you didn't know, womanizing drunk Bill Clinton. Oh, breaking news.
Our very own Dan Ball spent 2 minutes with Bill Clinton and didn't even have to file charges afterwards. So
No,
not
I think
everyone
I had a hangover the
spent
next
that
day from
with Bill
smelling him.
Clinton can, yeah. Well, Riley, we're excited for your new show. We're excited for the primetime lineup. And really, I just wanted to invite you on so that Dan would stop hazing me as the new guy in the primetime lineup. But now that you're here, I think it's going to be an incredible year. I think it's going to be an incredible term, transformational, and what a place to be talking about it. When you shared with me off camera that this was a dream, I really felt that, and I think it's a dream for all of us to be in the great golden age.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, what a time to be alive. Really, it's remarkable, and I'm very grateful.
I love hearing that story from you, brother. That this kid, because my goals as a kid, and I'm sure you too, Matt, changed throughout the years. Look at what all you've done: State House, federal government, now talk show host, whatever. And I don't know that I was dreaming about being a conservative talk show host as a little kid. I mean, we were doing Cops and Robbers, and I was dreaming of going to be a Marine Corps sniper and an FBI agent. You told Matt and I, before we invited John, like, my dream growing up was to be a talk show host or a news guy. And here you are. I mean, this is...
We'll go deeper into all of Dan's dreams next week on The Anchormen Show. It's all the time we have.
Want to see more great videos like this? Click on the link below to subscribe to OAN Live and watch Dan Ball's Real America and The Matt Gaetz Show on Dish Channel 212. Tune in, subscribe, and watch today.